Welcome to Rossman Radio, the podcast where we dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs, founders, and e-commerce brands that are breaking through the noise and scaling like never before. I'm Elise, and Rossman Media is a trend-forward social media agency specializing in going viral and delivering 10x returns for the brands that we work with. Each week, I'll sit down with industry disruptors to talk about the highs, the lows, and the exact strategies that help them grow from their first sale to multi-million-dollar milestones. If you're ready to unlock what it really takes to win on social, build a community, and multiply your revenue, then you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
All right, welcome back to Rossman Radio, where we talk to entrepreneurs and business leaders who built something unique from the ground up and learn how they're navigating the wins, the challenges, and everything in between. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Tamatha Grabin, founder of Baby Riddle, a brand that's been helping parents and families celebrate life's biggest moments for nearly 15 years. Tamatha, thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, your story, when we talked really briefly, your story really stood out to me, going from, a sort of a dinner table idea to a nationally recognized brand. I'm looking forward to getting into how you've kept Baby Riddle growing in such a competitive space. So let's start here. What's been the most exciting moment for Baby Riddle, in your recent history?
The most recent history, I would say, would be this morning. I woke up and rolled out of bed. I grabbed my phone, which I know I shouldn't do. And I looked at it, and I had gotten a text from one of my customers who's a friend. And it was this picture of this beautiful baby girl with a huge smile on her face and her pink bow and pink onesie. And she said, "Look at Liv. Isn't she the cutest? She's wearing your outfit today." And so I would definitely say we have exciting moments every day like that. It's such a positive business, and people are always sending us pictures and sharing their little ones, but just the opportunity to celebrate a child's life is a huge thing, and children are an absolute gift and joy. And I'm so grateful that we get to be part of that. So I would definitely say we have a million exciting moments that happen on a daily basis.
Yeah, and talk a little more about that, how the idea and how the business kind of started. So what was the impetus for you to start? And I think it has something to do with those special moments, yeah?
We were at a family dinner, and I was just looking at my sister's beautiful baby belly, admiring it, and we started talking about clothes, and because she decided to keep her baby's gender a surprise. And then I go, "Oh, you're gonna do like the greens and yellows?" And she's like, "Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what else to do." And so what came up in my mind was, I was like, "Hey, give me your ultrasound results. I promise I'll keep it a secret, and I'll go do all the shopping for you. So you can still keep your baby's gender a surprise, but you don't have to have like the ugly neutral colors. Remember back then it was like the mint yellows and the ugly or the mint greens and the ugly yellows. They were in the boring beiges, but beige is kind of cool now. So, but back then there weren't a lot of choices.
Well, that's great. I think that the starting off with a really special moment like that and kind of using that as the jumping off point it's a good spark to have to start a new brand. I think that a lot of brands lack that spark. They start because they want to make money, or they start because they think that it would be a good idea to take advantage of an efficiency in the industry, but they don't have that personal touch or that personal story that actually gets them started. You talked a little bit when we talked before about how COVID changed the whole landscape in your particular industry. How does that shift? How has that shift? And if you can describe it a little bit, how does that change the way you think about your growth in 2025?
Oh, well, it changed hugely. And first, going back to that gender reveal idea, we had to shift to when we started, because we had a website built, and it ended up not nobody could check out. We had like a national magazine coming to us. Nobody could check out on our website that we had built. I bought all these clothes, and so then I put them on Amazon, and so we just started really selling tons of baby clothes. Like, so we don't do just, the gender reveals, but it's like tons of baby clothes. So we just started growing exponentially every single year. Like, the whole idea behind it was, we were all sitting around the dinner table. We created a business, and it was like just kind of a little idea. And we had just sold a company. So it was just kind of, I don't want to say a hobby thing, but it turned into a bigger business. So it worked out where my husband we ended up working together and doing this business together all those years. So we had exponential growth for, 12 years. COVID hit, and we just, that was like our best years ever. The growth was huge. And then what happened was, people were working at home. So they got the idea that, it's really nice to be working from home, which of course is great. And then also, people learned how to manufacture clothes. So like the whole market just went a different direction, and it became overly diluted with lots of people, popping up, new clothing brands and new baby businesses. It was just because everybody wanted to shop online. And then also that happened. And then people, when they could start going out, people wanted to get out. So it's just, there was like several things that just changed the whole industry, not just us, but the whole industry. And so um, we have just really had to shift, and we're like grateful. Sometimes you get things that work all the time, and then you have to make wise choices. It's like you can't keep doing the same thing, otherwise your business will never. You always have to be adapting and pivoting. And so this has kind of it's been a hard time to really shift and kind of narrow down what direction that we need to go that's going to be that's going to work and continue to work. But I think like because of COVID, we've made like a better long-term fix and more of a sustainable business that will, it could be a legacy business. My daughters could take it over. It's a baby clothing company, or not just a baby clothing, but a whole like baby and kids store that, they're born every day, so it could last for generations. And so I'm grateful for the shift because it has definitely changed the strategy that we have done. So um, we are just moving into like more of a full baby store that people can come and find, really curated gifts or products for their kids where they're not having to shop all over the place.
That's great. Yeah, I think that shift to e-commerce was huge in COVID, and I think that even if there's been some regression to the mean, giving you that foundation to build on was probably unbeatable. When you look at, I know that you and a lot of the brands that we talk to, especially with e-commerce brands, are on both Amazon and Shopify, or Amazon and another e-commerce platform. When you look at all your marketing channels, which one do you feel like, I guess maybe describe that relationship a little bit, and then which one do you feel like has the most untapped potential for continued growth?
Oh, as far as like the channels we sell on or marketing?
I think both. I think that would be both. I want to talk a little bit about first the relationship that you have between Amazon and Shopify. And then I think after that, if you could describe a little bit about which one of your channels you see the most opportunity with, whether it's marketing or on an e-commerce platform.
Okay. Yeah. So on Shopify or on, I definitely say we are gonna definitely go for Shopify. Amazon, back when we started, was amazing. But now that market has shifted as well, and it's a lot harder to sell things on there. And honestly, Amazon is wonderful, but it's not for the faint of heart. It's really not. But Shopify, the beautiful thing about being on a platform like Shopify or your own store is that you have control over your customers, your their email addresses, the marketing that you can do to them, and you can do more of a personal touch. Now, Amazon's got like a lot of restrictions that, you can't really get in and get to know the customer or figure out, even like the communication is hard with them. So I would definitely say, of course, like controlling your own email list, being able to, contact your customers, being able to do that personal touch, which is so needed on an online store, just that personal touch. I would definitely say, Shopify. Now, marketing, I would love to go towards TikTok. That's kind of, we're moving that way, but we still have a lot to learn with that. And then I would say SEO is a hugely important marketing tool that a lot of people ignore. It's the organic traffic, and it's a really long-term fix. When we look at our numbers, that is what brings a lot of our customers in organically. And so just re-strategizing that and really kind of fine-tuning that is something that we're moving towards right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that for a lot of brands, especially e-commerce brands, even the similar brands that are on Shopify, that discovery engine of SEO is sometimes neglected. It doesn't often produce a one-to-one direct sale. So someone who clicks on a blog to read it isn't going to immediately make a purchase that day. Maybe they would. But I think that what your site does really well is you have an engaging blog section that's interesting for your audience, not necessarily just people who are in the market for buying baby clothes, or buying. Like it's entertaining and it's interesting for parents, and it ranks really well. So I think that's for anybody listening that's wanting a good piece of advice that Baby Riddle has adopted. I think that really working on your SEO and making sure that you're findable and searchable has been huge for you guys.
Oh yeah, definitely, hands down. And I've done it several times in the phases of our business. I put like, some marketing money into it, and it's still paying off because of that. And so we're trying to get more back to that and really be intentional on what we're doing. Just because it's like when you add like all the different mediums of marketing, especially the ones that are like bigger headers, it's like that combination is so beautiful. Like when we've done it, when we start adding back advertising in, and then we got our SEO going, and just all those, everything ramped up right, your business can really thrive doing that.
Definitely. What do you think the biggest challenge has been in getting your story in front of customers? So take TikTok, for instance. I know you mentioned. What do you think the biggest barrier there is? Because I think you're not alone in struggling to break into that kind of channel. Is it a matter of, like content production, working with a smaller team? Is it a matter of adjusting to the needs of the channel? Where do you think you guys have the biggest challenge when it comes to like those new and emerging channels?
I would definitely say there's several things. I think the biggest challenge, of course, is finding, the right marketing to send to the customer, the right marketing message. And that marketing message is really letting people know that when you're online, you don't have the opportunity as a brick and mortar store is to create a personal connection. And that's really what we're about. Our brand story is not just about our customers, it's about people. We've always been, people first. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. And we truly care about our customers. So, and we're grateful for them, because if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have a business. So the challenge becomes, how do you have a touch point with them? How do you let them know you care about them? How do you let them know that you're have a community out there? How do you let them know that you want to encourage them? They're not a transaction to us. They are people, and that's how, Baby Riddle was just built. It's built on people. That's the way that God wants us to work. We're made for each other and to connect with each other, and so that becomes the challenge, I think, with the marketing. How do people really know our hearts, and the story behind that? So you have to be really intentional about what you're putting out there, and that becomes like that. Like, are you selling too much? Are you too much personal? Are you, it's just that fine balance of figuring it out. So
Yeah,
that would be the biggest challenging. How do people know our hearts, that we care about them and we're grateful for them?
that's true. And it's such a good point. And I think that the brands we often see the brands that aren't trying to sell, that aren't, the purpose of every social media post isn't to make a sale, it's to communicate a message, but it's also, especially on a channel like TikTok, which is such forward facing, they're, people focused. It's really obvious when someone is disingenuous, or if they're trying to lean too hard into the hard sell, or for brands that are trying too hard and kind of flopping. So
Hmm.
I think the one piece of advice that we always give, and even if we're the ones managing those channels, is we have to really find the brand's voice and the brand's identity before we can have a successful strategy. And similar to your SEO, it's almost more effective when you're not actively trying to close a sale on every post. And I think
Yes.
that's the mistake a lot of brands make. Um, Preparing for your next phase, what's one thing that you think would make the biggest difference uh, in helping Baby Riddle reach its kind of complete store goals faster?
Well, I think I look at our store, and because we've been doing it so long, we have amazing staff and we have amazing systems. So a lot of what the work that needs to be done now is really being intentional at what we do, because I know how to scale really fast because of the systems that we have in place. Our business could be really scalable, but you've got to be very intentional before you scale up. And so I want to make sure that where we're growing is where we'll be able to handle it. So I think once you build like a good foundation, then it's really easy to scale. And so that's kind of where we're at, is in that research phase of, okay, let's make sure we have all our ducks in a row. So we're, and nothing ever has to be perfect, but you really have to have good roots, and a good foundation so that you're not slipping off the edge. Because again, I want to always go back to what's important to us is that we're adding value to people. And I think when you're always adding value to people, then sales just come, because it's not about, people know that. People know, like, if they're just a transaction or they're a person, and most people want to be seen. And that's how I want to make sure that when we move into the next levels, that our people, the our customers are always being seen, and that they hold value to us.
Absolutely. I think that the foundation, setting that foundation, is what I think a lot of brands and a lot of businesses struggle with, is having that solid foundation for growth before jumping right into it, right? You have to make sure that you're operating from a place that's secure and that you are confident in your own voice, and then building out your marketing channels from there. It's a lot. Um, it takes a lot of groundwork to get it done, and you have had, nearly 15 years of really putting a brand together from the ground up, doing it the right way, making sure people are focused first before trying to do everything at once. And I think that's a learning that a lot of brands can take away.
Yeah, for sure. You see it all the time. And it's like, it's really hard to, like, you see customers complain about like other stores or whatever, but it's like, it's an easy cycle to get into. You can have like exponential growth. And I mean, we've done it ourselves where you have growth and then you're not like able to keep up with all the processes that need to happen to keep your business going, make sure you're, you know, doing the right thing for the customer, so it can get out of balance really quick. And so I'm a firm believer, and only because we've had, I've made mistakes, I've done things. It's like, I know, it's like, okay, let's have good roots. And of course, they're always adaptable and changeable, but um, when you have those good systems in place and know, I guess, what your core values are as a business owner, it just makes things so much easier to scale up and move forward. And you're like, nope, that's like, maybe that's great, but that's not where our value system is.
Completely. I think that's a good way to leave it. I think, Tamatha, I love how much heart you put into the brand, and I think that the mix of that community, the quality products, and the story really does come through. So we would encourage our followers, our listeners, to follow Baby Riddle on their social channels and go to babyriddle.com for all of your baby needs.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much.